Oh, this is so lovely. We want to first of all thank you all for coming and joining. It's quite unusual for us to do this on Zoom. We've had
Mm.
meetings on Zoom, but we've never delivered a presentation on Zoom. So please bear with us. It's a little bit new for us.
Got a pun in
Um,
there. First off, the marker, and you get a pun in. Bear with. Did you get that, ladies? Bear with.
bear
Straight
with,
away. Look for
bear
them.
with. I just, they just roll off my tongue. I don't have to think about them anymore. But we'd like to just spend this evening sharing with you our journey and how we came to be doing
Mm.
what we're doing now, and hopefully answering some questions as we proceed. But if we haven't answered anything that's a particularly burning issue for you, please do ask at the end because there will be some time to ask questions. So I think I'm going to start right at the beginning. It's a very
Mm.
good place to start. When I opened a little teddy bear shop in the village of Bewley in the New Forest. So, probably as far as you can go if you're not going to then jump onto the Isle of Wight. Right down there in a beautiful little village. And Bewley is famous for the National Motor Museum. Some of you may have heard of it. It holds one of the biggest car collections. So, a very busy tourist destination. And I opened this little shop with two things in mind. First of all, I wanted to create a space where people could come and learn to appreciate some fine craftsmanship. And teddy bears just happened to be what to me felt like the right vehicle to do this. They're handmade, they involve a lot of skills. And I wanted that to be sort of at the forefront of what I did. The second thing I wanted to do was create the other half of my shop, which was a craft studio. And in that craft studio, I encouraged particularly children to come in and do things with their hands, to learn to stick and glue and make a mess, to paint pottery, to do all sorts of things, all on a bear theme. But that really just went because the shop was a teddy bear shop and it fit well. And I used to do birthday parties and all sorts. I felt very strongly that children weren't given the opportunities now to learn what we learned as children as to be sort of basic skills in particularly sewing, partly because they haven't got the opportunities, there isn't the time in the school curriculum, and also because they're born of a generation too that didn't learn either. And this is how things die out. And we can't promote absolutely all the crafts, but we can at least try and promote our own. So that was the basis for my shop. In my shop, as I said before, I had a lot of handmade artist bears. And I think this is a good point to hand over to Amanda because this is where we first met.
So I'd been at a craft event. It was near to Christmas time, and somebody had told me about this new shop that had opened in the New Forest in Bewley. And I said, well, I'm going to go and visit that because I, at the time, was designing and making my own bears and selling them at various different outlets, etc. And I thought this could be a good opportunity for me to sell my bears in another shop. So off I go one day with my basket of bears, and
Rabbit.
she's never going to let me live down the rabbit. There was a rabbit in the basket. I'm going to go there before I even do the rest of this story because I had this basket of bears and this beautiful rabbit. Now this rabbit, a lot of skill had gone into my rabbit. He was complete my design. I'd even hand dyed the mohair. It was like rainbow sort of pinks and blues and lavender, beautiful colours. And she took one look at the basket and said, "Mine, it's a teddy bear shop. I don't do rabbits." And just completely I don't want him straight away. And we really hadn't struck up conversation at that point. But anyway, she agreed, yes, she would take on my bears. She stood there behind her till looking so sort of, she says, professional. I
I
think she was
was.
terrified. She was terrified. She'd only been open 2 weeks, and I can be quite sort of flamboyant sometimes. So anyway, I bought these bears, and Julie agreed, yes, she would love to sell them in her shop, which I was really thankful for. But there was a condition, and the condition was that I would demonstrate how I made the bears, how I designed the patterns, sit there and sew, talk to her customers so that people could see how much actually goes into making a handmade item. And that's kind of where we began. So it started off like once a week, I would come in and I'd sit and sew and talk to the customers. And the first few weeks, she sat me in the corner, in a little corner down the end.
That was a mistake.
Stay there. I didn't stay there very long. I don't like being shoved in a corner. I need space. So quite quickly, I took over a bigger space, and I would be sewing, and it was quite clear that we hit it off. We got on really, really well. And a friendship, if you like, was starting to develop. But every time I was there, and the more times I went, people would come in and see me sewing, and they'd really enjoy it, but they wanted to know if I could fix something for them. It was always, oh, I've got a lovely old bear. I just seen your cat walk past, Pauline. That was really funny. I've got a lovely old bear, but he's lost an eye, or he needs his arm put back on. Or can you do that? And yes, I can. You know, I could do that. And it wasn't long before we realised there was this niche, this place in the market that people desperately wanted things repaired, and no one was offering the right service. I think that's what I would like to say. That it's not that they weren't offering a service, they were, but it wasn't what people wanted. There were restorers out there who would offer to repair your bear as long as it was a certain age, as long as it didn't need cleaning, as long if it was, you know, too new, then oh no, they wouldn't possibly, you know, it was only very antique. So I mean, if a child's bear got torn, they where could they go if they couldn't sew? So we decided that this was the way that we wanted the business to go. So Julie and I kind of started to think, didn't we, about how we could work that into our business plan, sort of, and started working together on this.
Yeah, this took a few years. This didn't all happen overnight.
Oh,
and
no.
in the meantime, when I originally opened the shop, I had designed my own logo, and I drew a little bear, and he sort of hung in the letters of the shop, which was called Bear It in Mind. And I so wanted to
I want to show you in the book. Can you see that?
Oh, look, there he is.
Yeah.
I so wanted that little bear to be created and turned into a little character. So I asked Amanda if she could do that for me. Well, you know, she did make bears after all. So I thought she probably could. Of course, remembering that it had to look like my design. My picture was two-dimensional. She had to make it three-dimensional. And also, she only had him from the waist up. So we had to work out what was going to be going on sort of from his paunch down, if you like. And she took on that challenge and created Barty Bristle. And this is the original Barty Bristle. I'll bring him a little bit closer. I hope you can all see him. This is the original Barty Bristle. So he's 18 years old now. And he's come on so many adventures with us. But he's our brand, if you like. This is our brand. And let's share some of the things he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. So Barty became a little bit of a local celebrity, I think. He did some charity work. He raised money for, was it a kidney cancer or kidney charity by doing a bungee jump, basically.
Oh, no, that was cystic fibrosis.
Oh, was it? See, I get muddled up. I need a... so he did this bungee jump. It was so funny. We had the Beaulieu Fire Brigade came out, and they took him up in a cherry picker up to the top of one of the old cottages in the high street, and he jumped off. See, he's very brave. We made him a little crash helmet, and I remember, and we were at the bottom, we had high vis on with Teddy Bear Doctor written on the back of our high vis, just in case there was an accident. So
oh yes, but as you can see, he's fine. He's fine.
Fine.
He was a younger bear then, of course. But he's also...
Sorry, I was going to say, just going back, he was actually 18 years old, which we've just celebrated 18 years of friendship, just to get that in there. Which is
Yeah,
quite a landmark, wasn't it,
it
this year?
certainly is. Yeah.
So
Um,
anyway, he did that. He did a pink tea party
he did.
for breast
And
cancer.
and he met Pudsey. And he was a
Yes,
little bit starstruck when he met Pudsey.
yes,
It was a very exciting day for him.
yes. He did a fabulous event where he arranged to have all the way down Bewley High Street and all the way back up the other side. It had to go teddy bear human, teddy bear human, teddy bear human, and for children in need. And yeah, Pudsey came, and it was a really exciting day. Do you know what? Can I say there's all these bears popping up? It's really lovely. I keep seeing new ones appear. So yeah, and he was also the face of the New Forest Teddy Bear Festival. Um, we did the first year call it the New Forest Bear Fair, and a few people turned up thinking it was going to be a beer fair, so a beer festival. So we had to change it to teddy bear. So that was a bit disappointing for some people, but that ran for 5 years, and that was really, really good. So Barty, yeah, he was quite a local celebrity. A lot of people got to know him. We used to take him out on photo shoots and all sorts of things, didn't we?
Mm, yeah, we did. I think people thought we were a bit mad.
Yeah.
Can't think why, but we have being a lovely holiday destination, and as we were welcoming more people with their bears into the shop, we decided that we couldn't just stuff the bears up onto a shelf if they'd come to be mended. And some of this was just because it didn't seem right, and some because Amanda had horrible memories of going to a doll's hospital as a child and just seeing all these poor things all stuffed up on a shelf looking really horrific and refusing to allow, I think I'm right, Amanda, your doll to be left there.
Not
So we
right, no
decided
way.
we would make a hotel and spa, especially for teddy bears and other soft toyed animals. They were all welcome as long as they fit the soft bodied sort of description at that point. So we had really rather a suite made of apple crates, all stacked one on top of the other, with little rooms inside. And so as somebody came with their bear or their soft toy, we would be able to place it inside somewhere that was actually really rather sweet and was a bit more encouraging for people to leave their loved toys behind with us. So we did that, and yeah, we might have had a bit of a reputation for being slightly bonkers, but we never believed that. No.
So no. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're getting busier with the restoration. But what we found difficult was some people didn't want to leave their bears with someone. If they didn't want to post them, they wanted to meet the person that was actually going to repair them, have a good old conversation, and get to know them a little bit because they're so precious. They didn't want to part with them. So we decided to take them out, to go out on the road and do these pop-up clinics, didn't we?
We did. I don't know if anybody's ever watched that television program called Embarrassing Bodies. Well, it was a bit like that, but for teddy bears. So people could, we're professionals. Yeah. You can tell us anything, and we would take a look at their bears for them.
Yeah. So we would give them a health check and explain to them what we could do, what could be done. That's another one I'm waving at. And then I think it gave people the confidence, if you like, because they'd met us and they could tell us. I think the fear was that we would do something they didn't want. And anyone that's got that childhood teddy bear will know how precious they are and how important they are. And it is a big wrench to sort of leave them. So, but the only problem was by going out on the road, we couldn't run the shop at the same time, could we? It was getting very, very difficult. We were people, why weren't you open? Because we're out collecting bears to work on. And we had to make a huge, huge decision.
And it was a huge decision because when we came to the end of our tenancy agreement, we didn't renew it, and we went and set up a studio in my home. Had a perfect room, used to be my eldest son's room. He'd come back home, I think twice, and eventually I said, you can't come back now because I need your room. And I didn't actually kick him out, but it was kind of, we're changing your
Fine.
room. But we were really lucky. We were fortunate because it sort of had it was ground floor, and it had, with a little tweaking, we were able to give it its own entry. So the public didn't have to come trooping through my house. And also I
Mm.
could close it off at the end of the day, which is so important when you work from home, I think. And I think, how long, Amanda, were we working from there? I think it
7 years, I believe.
years, yeah.
Eight,
And
something like that.
it
Maybe a
was
bit longer. I don't know. I'm not very good at remembering things like that, but I think it was about that.
about 7. But it was quite difficult at the time, the decision to almost take a step back, because we came off the high street, if you like, and back into a home. Usually people want to do it the other way. But for us, in the situation we were in, we felt it would be better to not have that high street presence at that time. And we worked very hard on keeping a good
Mm.
website, a website that was up to date. Um, it had good information on it. All our diary was all on there. All these things, so it stood alone as a professional website, and not just sort of a crafting point of reference. And that was very important, as we found out
Mm.
in sort of later times. But going back to Barty, I started writing the original stories for Barty very soon after he sort of came to
Mm.
life. I can't really explain where the stories came from. I just found them going round and round in my head, these ideas and thoughts, and they were tied up with the village and the people that we met and the places within the village, and the things that we got up to. And they just went round, and the only way I could remove them from my head was to write them down on paper, and then I could sort of move on. So I'm not sure if anyone else listening has ever had a similar experience with writing or poetry or even artwork, painting, but it just was this need to get it out on paper. That was many years ago, obviously, sort of probably about 16, 17 years ago now. And nobody was interested when I tried to approach publishers. They would say, you haven't got an agent, therefore we can't publish you. So I would try and go to an agent, and they would say, you've never been published, so we can't
Round and round.
decide it. So we went round and round. And eventually I said to Amanda, I'm just going to put them on the shelf. One day the time will be right. And we moved on, and we continued with all the other things that are going on. So that's kind of where the story started. That was just the seed of an idea for the stories. But the repair shop, which I'm sure you're all very interested to know about and how that came about. Do you want to share that, Amanda?
Well, I can do. I don't know if we can do our acting like this, but we'll give it a
We
go.
can try. We
We'll
can try.
try. It might not come across quite as well because we're not together, but we'll do our best.
Okay.
So, so we're in the studio. We're both working one each side of the table. I'm sewing. Julie's typing. She's doing all the admin. I'm sewing away, and the phone rings. Julie picks it up. Oh, got to keep sewing.
You're supposed to make the phone ring, Amanda.
Oh yeah.
Just
Ring,
come on.
ring, ring, ring.
Hello, Bear It in Mind. How can I help you? Mm-hmm. 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 Well, if you could put that all down in an email, I'll have a look and I'll get back to you. Matt, we're going to be on the telly. And that's
Really excited. I was like, then we got serious, didn't we? We had our excited minute, and then we got all serious. Like, what if it's somebody kidding us? We've got friends that would play jokes on us. What if they decided, they would do this to us? So we decided to do a bit of research.
We did, and we looked into it as sensible business people would, and obviously found that it was genuine. Our other concern, because there were those two concerns, was that being that it was a very new idea, this show, we were a little bit concerned that the attitude towards the people and the items that were going to be fixed might be a bit sort of maybe be ridiculed slightly.
Yeah, maybe a bit patronizing, we thought.
We weren't sure and we were very worried. And we said, if that happens, because by this time we'd been working with people with their bears for a number of years, we already understood the emotional attachment and a lot of the reasons behind that emotional attachment. We didn't want to then put ourselves in public view and find that nobody was going to take that seriously. So we were very sort of, when we first turned up on the set, but absolutely from day one, there was none of that. It's so genuine, so loving and kind. We felt very, very, very at home, very
happy. Yeah, it is very, very genuine. What you see is what you get. When you see us waiting to give the item back, we are genuinely terrified. We don't know what the response is going to be from that person. You know, we do everything we can to get it right, but we're never, until they've seen it, we're happy with what we've done, but we have to get their approval. And it's just so scary. And then when they take that cover off, you always get their first reaction. They never retake that bit is completely genuine. So it's really, really lovely. There's no, it's just lovely. It's not formula, you know, there is a formula to the program, but it's not
scripted in any way.
No, not at all.
Anything like that. It's,
it's lovely. And I think it's also given a lot of people permission to share that love that they have for their teddy bears, where a lot of people were kind of like a little bit sort of hiding it, and there's no need, you know, it's, if you love your teddy bear, be proud of it. That's what we say, don't we?
Particularly men. We actually even have men now coming forward and admitting that they still have a bear, and that's fine, and they all have their own reasons. I mean, we've had people who bring some kind of almost unrecognizable little furry thing, and it may be that last part of maybe their birth mother, they've gone on to be adopted, something like that, but they know that that's come from their birth mother, and it's so important to them. Others have had teddy bears come through surgeries with them, or illnesses, and all these kinds of things. And it's, you know, there's so many reasons why people want to keep those bears and keep them going. And to us, far more important than it being an old bear that's really valuable, because realistically, there aren't that many that fit into that category. There are far more just loved cuddlies out there that people want to keep going. And that's what we think is important, much as we love the old sort of extra special ones. When I say sort of ones with a historic interest or those kind of things, it's a different thing.
Yeah, we love them all, really.
We do.
So as I say, we started on the repair shop now. Where do we go next? Yes, so we go back to we've been working on the repair shop. Sorry, bear with, I've forgotten for a minute. We've been working on the repair shop for a while, and the repair shop had, I don't know if you know, they've had some books written about children's storybooks written about items that have come into the barn, showing the historic side. And we asked very kindly if we could approach the literary agent that they had used. And they were more than supportive, weren't they? They were just like, go for it. Yeah. And it was important. I mean, Julie started writing these stories, but we sort of, it's a joint project. And I think we were really worried that they might, because of who we were, they would publish us anyway. It was important to us that they were happy with what we were giving them to work with, as it were. We took a bit of convincing, even once they said, yes, we'll take you on. You know, we'd got a publisher and we'd got an agent, and then she got us the publisher. We were still sort of, but are these books good? Because there are, you know, you just think sometimes there's how can you say, a lot of celebrities writing books that they're not written by themselves. And I'm not knocking that. That's not the wrong thing to do. But this our own heads, isn't it?
It's a different genre of books, and that was another thing. So
Yeah.
right from the word go, we fully appreciate, and I don't know if there's anyone listening tonight who's always wanted to be published and has recognized some of the things that we've said about the difficulties. We will never take for granted the fact that we had that lucky break, and sometimes that is all it takes. We have had to rise above the comments about all celebrities writing books and this kind of thing, and hold on with confidence, which we're not so good at doing, the fact that these stories were worthy of being published, and we are published by one of arguably the best publishers in the country, which is Walker Books, for children's books. And we're constantly having to be reminded that and sort of nurtured along the way, because we still find it all quite surprising. But we worked for 2 years with Walker Books before this book came out. And in that 2 years, we learnt so much ourselves, and accepted that the two of us are 50-50 in the writing. Those stories I wrote were seeds of stories. They've developed so much more with professional guidance, with Amanda's input, with an amazing illustrator that took us ages to find, but we just think she's got it right. And we absolutely love what she's done. And we're feeling quite confident now going on into 2025 that there will be more stories to come. I should show you the book, really, shouldn't I? For those of you who've not seen it. Does it come out back to front on a camera?
No, I can. Well, I can read it.
Okay, so
but I know what it says.
Well, you know what it says without looking. But I think you can see. So it's called Barty Bristle and Other Stories. And you'll see a little bunch, I don't know how clearly you can see them, of creatures, bears mainly, on the front. And you may recognise, just peeping over Amanda's shoulder, this one here. Can you see him? So that is Sanderson. And Sanderson, well, actually, he's quite excited tonight because he doesn't normally come on tour with us because he's about 4 foot tall and he doesn't fit in the car. So he's quite excited today to be out. But Sanderson, he's a very kind, well, most bears are kind. He's very kind and learned. He loves reading. He absolutely loves reading, and he loves children, but I'm not going to tell you any more about him because you have to read about it yourself. And then who else? Oh, this little character here. Can you see him there? This is Tom Boot. And I'm going to let Amanda, here he is. I'm going to let Amanda tell, and you can see how perfect, well, I hope you can see how perfect the illustrations are to the actual bears. This was one
Move
of the
him over a bit, Julie. We can't see.
This way?
There he is.
There he is.
There he is.
Hello, he says. Got lovely blue eyes. So Amanda will tell you all about Tom Boot.
Right, I'm going to try and get this right in the right tense because I usually go and mess this up, but I'll do my best for this one. So I'm going to go back. There was a little girl back in the 70s who had a pair. I don't know if any of you ladies, I'm sure you'll remember, if you're of a certain age, those boots that used to pull on like nylon. They were like sort of plastic socks. And they had they were called kinky boots. Yeah, I can see your head. Oh.
Very fashionable.
I
wasn't another pair.
Yeah. Yeah. So this little girl had this pair of boots and absolutely adored them and outgrew them. Her mum was kind enough to cut the toes out. She could still crump around the garden and not hurt her feet. But they got to such a state that there was no more that could be done and the boots had to go. And her granddad said one day, "Give me those boots, I'll take them away and I'll see what I can do with them." And we thought, whatever. Anyway, I've nearly got it wrong. So granddad's down in the shed all day and all day long, the little girl's backwards and forwards. "What's going on, Grandad? Why, what are you doing?" "I'm making something. You'll just have to wait and see." And at the end of the day, he came out of the shed and he produced this little character, this little black vinyl teddy bear made out of the pair of boots. Now, Tom Boot knows he doesn't look like a bear. The little girl looked at him and she thought, he doesn't look much like a bear. But Grandad said he was a bear. And he's really proud of that. He's proud to be different to other bears, but he knows that he is a bear. Anyway, I'm going to let the story or the cat out of the bag now. That little girl was me. And it was my granddad that made Tom Boot. This is a replica of Tom Boot because the original one, I've still got him, but he's getting very old. And the last time he came out, he lost a bit of nose stitching and he's a bit frail. So he stays at home. And we've replicated him from Grandad's pattern. And this is Tom Boot. And the reason he has to wear trousers is because if he doesn't, he squeaks when he walks. His little legs rub together and he goes everywhere he goes. So Julie's doing a beautiful demonstration there. So that's where he came from. So he's very, very special to me. Well, as they all are actually, because they've become like friends, haven't they, really? We've kind of given them all characters, etc. But yeah, he's very, very special little guy. Who else you got, Julie?
Well, I think we ought to introduce everyone to this little creature.
This is Sparkle, and Sparkle is a Womin. Now, Womins are very sweet and they're very friendly, but they are a little bit naughty. And there is a warning that comes with a Womin if you should happen to find one. Don't leave them on the floor. And that's a serious, I've got my waggly finger. Don't leave them on the floor. Because if you put them on the floor, they roll around and they get bigger and they get bigger because they pick up whatever they find. And then they end up in the corner of your room so big that they can't move and you're stuck with them. So they need a little bit of taming, and they are friends with the bears, but they can be a little bit cheeky and naughty. So they have to be kept a little bit in line. They don't like honey because it gets stuck in their fur. So it's always quite a good thing if you can put a line of honey out, they won't roll over it or anything like that, and you can contain them. But this one, Sparkle, he, as you can tell, came from our workshop because he's picked up ribbons and he's picked up threads. He's got a little cotton reel here, little bits and pieces all over him. So that is how you know where. So I expect you've probably got Womins in your homes that you don't even know about. But if you find them, you'll know they belong to you because they'll have picked up whatever you've got on your floor or in your corners. But there's more than one Womin that lives in the workshop at the studio. So that's who that is. Don't leave them on the floor. And this is Judy the tortoise. And she's...
You can't quite see her.
Oh, can't we? Hang on, I'll bring her forward. I'm covered
There
in...
she is.
Here she is. This is Judy. See, we take in all sorts of furry creatures. And she is another one of the gang. She's another one of the main characters. But when she came to live at the studio, she wasn't very happy. She would hide quite a lot. And if the teddy bears were having one of their tea parties, then she would kind of hide a little bit. She wanted to be part of the party, but she couldn't cope with it. So they ended up introducing her to the allotments at the end of the road. And that is where she decided she wanted to stay. So she's happy, absolutely thrilled to see them all when they come and visit, as long as they bring her a jam sandwich. But that's where she lives because she's quiet and she can do what she wants to do. So that's Judy. But she's having a nice time today because she hasn't seen Sanderson for quite a while. So she's thrilled to be able to see him on that other screen. So is that everyone? Have I got anyone else?
Dear old Albert, he's sat by your shoulder.
Oh, dear old Albert, come here. Oh.
Tip him up, he's listen. See if any of you remember this noise. Oh, go forward. Did he do it?
Yeah, could you not hear?
Oh.
So this is dear old Albert, and this one, we confess, again, he is a replica.
because the original dear old Albert, who I do have here in my home, is about 120 now. He was an original Farnell bear made in around 1918, who came to our workshop to be worked on, actually, but there was no attachment. The owner had no attachment. He'd sort of inherited it without really realizing it even existed. And I fell in love with him. So long story short, he ended up as mine. And he is very, very important in all of the stories. He plays that sort of elderly, patient, wise role within the stories, and is a great, great sort of mentor for the younger bears, particularly Barty Bristle, who is full of questions. But because of original Albert's age, we can't take him out and about with us. So we made this one to be our replica, and he's the one that it features in the book. And just out of interest, the original Winnie the Pooh was a Farnell bear of the same age as our Albert. So, I can see a lovely dog. Oh, sorry, I'm distracted. Yeah, so this is Albert, and I say he everybody loves him, and he's wise. He does sleep a lot. He gets cold, and he loves chocolate buttons. But he's definitely a firm favourite with the bears. And that's the main bunch, really, isn't it, Amanda?
It is. That's the main characters in our book. So I think with that said, we ought to read a little bit. Would you like us to read a little bit of the book? Yeah?
Thumbs up from Pauline. I don't know how well you think we're doing, but it's very hard because normally we can see our audience and we can hear sort of some remarks and chuckles or groans, and we can hear nothing. So we're just
waffling.
Just keep going until they pull the plug.
You're doing grand, ladies. Don't worry.
Thank you, Pauline.
Thank great.
You.
Yeah. Thank you.
But then you start me, Julie.
I will. I'm just getting to the right page. Just got to show you these two on the back cover. Can you see?
They're right funny pair, aren't they?
They look familiar.
I've got them here as well. Where are they? There they are.
Yeah. Okay.
So we just want to give you a flavour, really, of how the sort of the way the stories flow and the type of stories they are. So
yeah, we won't read for too long. Halfway up the high street, opposite the village school, is a teddy bear shop where Barty Bristle lives. Barty's home hasn't always been a shop. Long, long ago, it was a block of stables, and if you look carefully, you can see where the ponies and donkeys used to come in. That part is bricked up now. There are shelves there instead, and teddy bears can come and stay for a while if they are lost, hurt, or just need a rest. Barty was a very happy little bear, well, most of the time. But you see, when Mrs. T and Rose first crafted him, he didn't have a real name, so everyone called him Logo, because he looked just like the bear on the sign outside the shop. But all his new friends had real names, and that sometimes made him a bit sad. Have you ever felt like that? Poor little bear. One day, Mrs. T and Rose decided they would run a competition to find a proper name for their precious Logo bear. They placed a shoebox on a shelf and cut a slit in the top, a bit like a letterbox. They asked everyone who came into the shop to think of a name. It was going to have to be a very special name. Mrs. T and Rose knew that the decision wouldn't be easy.
People came from all over to have a go at the competition. Mums, dads, boys, girls, grands, grandpas, aunts and uncles scratched their heads, chewed their pencils, scrunched up their faces and tapped their toes in the hope that they might think of a good name. They wrote down those suggestions on slips of paper and then posted them in the box. Barty, although he didn't know his name yet, was very excited. He longed to know what he would be called. Then the day finally came when the box was lifted from the shelf. When all was quiet and everybody had gone home, Mrs. T emptied the box onto the table, and all the bears watched as the paper slips tumbled out. What a pile! Rose had given Barty his very own chocolate sundae to try and keep him out of mischief. It was delicious. He loved chocolate and anything sweet, really, because he is a bear, and everyone knows that bears love honey, which is very sweet indeed. Barty tucked into his sundae while Mrs. T and Rose carefully unfolded each slip, read the name, and placed them in front of the bears. The little bear watched as the two ladies smiled, sometimes even laughed out loud, and clapped their hands. "We've got it, little bear," Mrs. T said at last. "Your new name will be Barty Bristle."
Yeah.
Show you the illustration of us with all the, I don't know if you, can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there they are, getting all the slips out. So what we should point out here is some of the things that happen in this book, our book, are actually things that did happen. They're fact. And some of it is fiction from our wild imagination. So when you read the book, it's up to you to decide which things actually happened and which things didn't. So we'll leave you with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just a little plug. It is a great Christmas present. It really is a lovely Christmas present for adults and children. Yeah, we're so proud of it, and
Yeah.
we hope that everybody enjoys it.
I think
And
it
if
might
you,
be.
sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I think it might have been the longest time it's ever taken to get a book out there. I don't know. It felt like a very long time.
We were quite particular about how it had to look, and it's just got, yeah, we're just so proud of it. It's really, really beautiful.
And we would
So-
also like to share with you, so on a personal level, that we have a little replica Barty Bristle that is made for us. Amanda, have you got yours? There's a bit of a story attached to this. So if I hold up original Barty Bristle and Amanda holds up that Barty Bristle. Now, the one that Amanda is holding is a little more like the one on the front of the cover and through the illustrations. And the reason for that is because many years ago, when we first started doing our pop-up clinics, we were very kind. It was very kind of a company called Merry Thought. Some of you may have heard of Merry Thought. Merry Thought are our longest existing teddy bear makers, British manufacturer. They work from the same site in the same family in a town called Ironbridge in the Midlands. They're still operating and have been since 1930. So we're hugely proud of the company, and they're held in very high regard. They were very kind some years ago to allow us to run our pop-up clinics from their shop, which was a huge honour, because it was also putting their reputation on the line to allow us to come in and offer our services. And we always said, one day, hopefully, they can make our Barty Bristle for us, obviously not realising what the future had then to hold. So earlier this year, after a few months in the planning, they honoured us by producing this Barty Bristle exclusively by them. And we're just so amazed to have our own design that matches Barty, the illustration of Barty in the book, made for us by Merry Thought Teddy Bears, is just, for us, such an honour. So we did want to share him with you. They're making him in a limited number or a limited run. We're not sure of how many, but I think that depends on sales. But we love him. We absolutely show everybody his little foot label, because this is what makes it so special.
Come on,
Put his foot up there. Come on, he waved it then. Up a bit. Up a bit.
Trouble. Barty, put your foot straight. There he is.
There it is. The
Merry Thought.
all important Merry Thought foot label. And we just get quite emotional about that. So we absolutely love him. So yeah, but we do hopefully one day hope to get a more sort of generic plush teddy bear out there for the general public as well. But there's plans for the future. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So, and that pretty much brings us up to date, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think we can throw it to you now to see
Yeah,
if
well,
you've got any
that was
questions.
wonderful. I think it's Pauline here. That I think that you're an inspiration to women who have maybe have a specific craft or a specific interest in crafting, and can make their own things, and then make something really like stratospheric with it. Really, I mean, you've taken. You might not have expected to take those steps, but the steps have come to you, and the phone call came to you, and you make your own luck, don't you? But
Yeah.
that's a wonderful thing to
I
have.
think it's about sort of knowing what you want, but allowing things to organically move.
Yeah.
To not be
Mm.
pushed into a corner by somebody who says you're not doing this properly, or this is how. I mean, yes, take advice. We must all take advice.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's your heart that's telling you that's not for me, or this is what I want to try. And I'll be honest, and Amanda will agree with me, we tried quite a few things that didn't work.
Yeah.
And we've come up against some quite awkward people who've pretty much laughed at our plans. And I think our friendship is what's helped us to go. And there will be lots of people who are trying on their own that don't have the support of a sort of business partner who, when I'm down, she's up, and when she's up, it's go with your heart and,
Yeah.
and be confident in what
Absolutely, every
you do.
time.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah. Those gut instincts are very, very important.
Yeah. And so what you alluded to future plans. So what's I know we were just discussing before everyone came into the meeting, the fact that you've been quite busy up till now, and you're going to have this is your last
It is.
conversation about the book until Christmas. But so tell us, let the ladies know what you're actually doing next year, how your diary looks from now on, kind of thing.
Well,
As you said, yeah.
One of the really exciting things that's happening with the repair shop is we're going out on the road. We're going on a live tour. And we obviously, none of us have ever done anything like this before. So that's really exciting. And that starts in February. So that's going to keep us really, really busy. We are going to be having some more talks with our publisher and Merrythought, and we'll see what the future holds for Barty. But we're very, very, it's looking positive. We're really, really happy. We can't give away too much, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But we will be back filming as well later on, well, probably about March, I would just say. So yeah, we've got a lot coming up.
We do have already have other stories written. I think it's very much dependent on sales. Once we get into January, February, that's the normal time for publishers to take stock of what happened over the summer, and then there's a lull, and then in the run up to Christmas, and make their decisions based on that. But yeah, there's quite a lot of things that could manifest themselves out of it. So we're very excited.
Great. And how's the book tour? I know you've done a book tour. So how's that going? Actually meeting in person fans and people that just love bears. How's that been?
It's been incredible, actually. We've felt so welcomed, and it's just been wonderful. Everybody seems to love Barty. It's a pleasure to meet so many people that love the repair shop, and to be able to bring it all together and go out and actually meet the public is lovely. Really, really nice. And I don't think there's ever been a bad experience. Actually, I think we're quite
we've had some interesting experiences.
We're very interesting, but it's been a delight, an absolute delight. Yeah,
and we've
definitely.
also as part of the book tour, we've gone into schools and delivered this presentation, but in a slightly more childlike format for primary age children, and they're quite difficult to keep happy because they don't pull punches, do they? They don't pretend they're enjoying themselves when they're not, or whatever. And we've
had some lovely feedback, and we get particularly moved if
Mm.
we've inspired children, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to have to carry on all these
Mhm.
traditions, all these skills, not just sewing. So that's been great.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. So I'll just if anyone's got a question, please put your hand up either digitally or in person, and we'll come to you. I'll just read you a couple of comments. So Alison said, "We're loving hearing all about your gorgeous characters. Can't wait to get my own copy."
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And Claire says, "This is so wonderfully, joyfully bonkers." So
Our
You've
kind of
nailed
girl.
it.
that's a good bonkers, not a
Yeah.
bad one. And then Lynn says, "I have a very old teddy who looks a bit like Albert called Goldie. He needs a lot of.
Oh,
Can you suggest suppliers where I could get feet?
feet.
Yeah, feet, noses, eyes, etc. Please." I think
Yeah,
he wants to. Lynn,
we can.
Lynn, can I spotlight you, Lynn? Where are you, Lynn? Give us a wave.
Is he there?
I'm not sure. Hang on.
I've only got one row of
You see
people
Lynn?
along the top, so Amanda, you might have to jump in.
I don't know if
Um,
Lynn's there.
we can give you the name of a company that we recommend to do everything mail order
I can't see anyone
online.
waving at me.
No.
No, I
Oh,
can't
somebody's
see.
got their hand up. Oh no, I've got somebody with their hand up, but I can't see Lynn.
Oh, I see. There. I'm asking you to unmute Lynn, and then I'm going to
Oh, you've got her.
add spotlight. So, hi, Lynn.
Oh, there
Hi.
she is.
Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi there.
Have you got Goldie there?
No, unfortunately, I left him upstairs.
Okay.
But Goldie came with me. I was adopted, and he came from my birth mother.
Oh, yes.
But many years ago, and I'm 77 now, so that gives you an idea of his age. And many years ago, one of our dogs got hold of him and chewed him rather.
Oh
So
dear.
he's pretty battered, you know. But I'd love to be able to do something with it.
Mm,
Hmm.
It
absolutely.
means a lot to me.
Yeah. We can give you the name of a company that do fabrics and eyes and all jointing and all the bits and pieces that you need.
Yeah.
If you can't find what you want or don't understand, because there's so much stuff, they're very helpful. They'll answer an email or a phone call.
Okay.
We can put that on the screen afterwards, or what would you like us to do, Pauline?
We can put
Oh.
it in the chat if you send it to me, and then I can send it to.
Okay.
Do you want me to
Okay.
email it across to you?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Thanks.
I'm
And
gonna
then-
do that.
And then so good luck. And you can always, contact us if there's a specific problem or a question. We're quite
Yes.
easy to get hold of on Instagram. Just private message us or direct message us on Instagram. Just wave and say who you are, and
Yeah.
we will.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Thanks
we're
very much.
we're just the Teddy Bear Ladies on Instagram. It's easy to find us. So
Great.
Lovely. Thank you for your help.
Thank
good
you,
luck.
Lynn.
Good
Thanks.
luck with him.
I'm emailing this across as we speak.
Oh,
Oh, I
Yeah.
saw. Is that Jeanette waving? A lady called Jeanette. Was she waving? Yes, she's waving. Hello, Jeanette.
I've just spotlight Christine who's had her hand up.
Oh,
okay.
Christine.
I'll
Christine's
grab
got it.
Jeanette
Christine's
next.
got yeah.
Hi, Christine. I think you're muted.
Yeah. No, you're not muted.
Oh, I
You-
can.
We just can't hear you, Christine. Try and I'm gonna mute you and then ask you to unmute, and maybe that'll kick it into gear.
It's winging its way to you. I can see Christine there. She's been had her hand up.
Yes, we're just having problems
Yeah.
hearing her, Amanda.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
hear you.
Sorry, I was sending the.
So I'll just read out while Christine's trying to sort that out. I'll just
Mhm.
read out another couple of things. So Avril said, "Thank you for a very interesting evening. Lovely to hear how your lovely Teddy started."
Thank you.
This
Thank
is-
you.
And Caroline says, "These delightful ladies fixed my two bears, Bertie and Snowball. Must be at
Oh.
least 10 years ago. And
Wow.
they're sitting with me now watching their doctors."
Oh.
It's Snowball. Yay! Oh. They probably met Barty then.
Probably.
Yes.
Pauline, I've emailed that across to you, that
Thank you.
website.
I'll have a little look and put it on the.
Thank you.
That requires me using my brain, though.
Oh, dear. I can see Fiona with a dog. Fiona's got a dog. Hello, Fiona. I can see your
Hi,
dog there tucked
this
under
is
your arm.
Basil.
Basil.
Basil belongs to my son. He's nearly 32.
Oh, look at him.
He's a basset hound.
He's
Ah,
lovely.
My dad got him in the Hush puppy shop.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that,
With
yeah.
a pair of shoes.
Yes.
And I look after him now because my son's in Tokyo. So
Oh,
it's actually in pretty good condition. Sandy's really looked at. His ears used to be attached, but if I wanted to clean him,
Mm-hmm.
because he's coming home at the end of December, and he's a bit, doggy. So not Bran, hopefully.
No
not
Bran.
Bran, whatever it was. What's the best thing to clean him with?
I think just a gentle surface clean. What we
Right.
usually recommend, make sure you give him a good brush first. Make sure there's no dust on him. Okay.
Yeah, it will be dusty.
Yeah. And a little
And you can
vacuum, very
vacuum.
I
soft
do hoover
vacuum.
him, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you can get yourself something like some baby shampoo,
Oh, I've got
Yeah.
that.
put a little dollop in some water and whisk it
Right.
up so you've got lots of bubbles.
Okay.
Just use the
Right.
bubbles, no water, just you
Right.
cover him in the bubbles.
Oh, I've seen you do that recently.
Yeah.
Just
And then
that.
then just a damp flannel, just wipe it all off and the dirt will
Okay.
come away with the bubbles.
Goodness.
Let him air dry and then he can have a nice groom and he'll look beautiful.
Brilliant. So,
Just stand back when he shakes.
I know.
Yeah.
I've actually got 3 of them. I've got Boris and Barbara through on top of the piano.
Oh,
They'll all want one if you give Bertie
And
one.
do you, everybody talks to them, it's quite, anyway, but thank you.
No, you're welcome.
He's lovely.
Where do you stand on putting toys in the freezer to debug them or do whatever?
Definitely.
Yeah. You use-
Definitely, but
Definitely.
you only need to do that if it's
A natural fur bear. So if it's a bear that's made of wool or alpaca or
Mohair.
mohair, any of those kind of things are a real fur or a real
Cotton.
hair,
Felt.
felt, anything like that made of wool, because it's the keratin that the larvae are after. So your danger of moth or carpet beetle come from that. So if you have something newer, something that's acrylic, polyester, those kind of things, no problem at all, no benefit from putting them in the freezer. It's that generally the older ones or ones made of natural fibers, wrap them in a plastic bag so they're airtight, put them in the deep freeze for a minimum of 2 weeks, and then all will be well. They won't come to any harm. They just hibernate while they're in there.
So there's a character here getting a little distressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be fine.
So I've asked Christine to write her comment, and I'll read it
Okay.
out on her behalf. But in the meantime, Alison is saying, my husband has a koala that is nearly 60 years old, and the leather nose has got very brittle and fallen off. Is there is that something that could be fixed?
That's a really tricky one, actually, because it's probably quite likely that the leather that the nose was attached to is also starting to get brittle. So it's not something I would undertake unless you know what you're doing. The problem is with any toy that's made from skin, whether it be sheepskin or the koalas are usually kangaroo skin. They take it, it's a pelt, and as it comes off the animal, it dries out and does get very, very brittle, and it needs to be completely lined from within and sort of conditioned as well. And I think sometimes starting to try and just put a nose on, you actually cause more problems. So it's something I would definitely consult with a professional on that one. I wouldn't like to give
We'd have
advice,
it,
because
really.
it could, yeah. Pardon?
I was just saying we would have to actually have it in our hands
Yeah,
and see it,
yeah,
but
the
yeah,
tricky one.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
It's okay. Amanda, can I ask you to send me the email address or the website in chat? Sorry, I didn't get the
Oh, how do I do that? Do I click
You
on
just-
me?
Yeah, you just click onto the chat at the bottom. Two
Okay.
bubbles. Click on
I
that.
got no bubbles. I got no
Oh, yeah, wiggle your cursor, Mand.
wiggle my cursor. No,
Yeah.
you're just all going up and down.
That's all right. No, maybe not.
Settings, backgrounds,
Tell
filters.
me the
Oh,
name
chat.
of the
I
company.
found chat.
Tell me the
chat
name of
then.
the company. I can
Well,
Right, I'm direct. I'll do it for you.
Mohair bear
I've
making.
got it. I'm
yeah.
in. Yeah.
Mohair bear making supplies. Well, you
Hang
know that, but it's .co.uk.
No, hang on.
Okay.
I can't see that.
Anyone have any more questions, ladies? We're a wee bit over time.
Yes.
Sorry to keep you.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, we're having fun.
Yeah.
Right, see? There you go. Did you get that, Pauline?
I did. Thank you.
Yay!
Well done. So I'm gonna put it in chat so for everyone. So you can copy the web address there.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I got it now. The guy that just to let you know, the guy that owns Mohair Bear Making Supplies, he's lovely, but he doesn't have a good telephone manner. We've known him for years. He knows his stuff, but he'll probably go, "Yep, no, right, yeah." You know, he's kind of typical guy who does this sort of monosyllabic sort of answer.
Amanda, can I just remind you this is going on YouTube?
That's all right. I tell it. Darren,
This
I
man
love you.
probably
You know
knows.
I do. But
Darren.
yeah.
We've got Ginty now. Ginty, have you got a question for the guys?
Yeah. This is Davy.
No.
Oh,
No.
Now, I always wanted a teddy bear, but never ever had one. Needless to say, well, I never ever had one. And our craft class decided some of us would make a teddy bear. And
Wow.
so we made a teddy bear.
Lovely.
Love him.
Fantastic.
Exact
Well
teddy bear.
Unfortunate thing is when I took it, when we were finished and I took it to show off, they immediately said, "Jeanette, you put your arms on the wrong way.
Oh, that was for
Put
the
them
best of
back
us.
to front."
Bless him.
I
Well,
didn't want
he's
to-
unique.
I just left him.
He's
And
unique.
Sorry?
He's unique.
And
And
I
you love
just-
him.
yes. And my great-grandson, a year or two ago, decided he wanted to play with him when he would see it. So he did that. And unfortunately,
Oh.
Oh no.
his head came off. So what I wanted to know is, I realise I'll have to undo him, and I don't look forward to doing it, but is it
Yeah.
easy enough to take the arms off to
What type of joint has he got? Is it plastic or is it
it was plastic.
they can be a bit tricky to get off because the idea is they're safety ones, so they pop on and they're not
That's
supposed
right.
to pop off.
Yeah,
So you might have to break them and replace them
right.
because
Okay,
you
I know.
can't.
So you've sent the video, the message of who the suppliers are.
Yes.
So I
You can get them from him.
and then I'll see if I can square up the courage to unpick them all.
Yeah, you can do it.
But
So
apart
you
from
can
anything else,
really.
he's needing, he's getting a wee bit skinny.
Don't you feed him?
You push his head.
Make sure you measure the round part of the disc as well. Make sure you measure that across so that you get the right size.
Right. Okay. So that's my teddy bear story.
Love him.
He's lovely.
Lovely.
Well
He
done.
looks great. Well done, Ginty. I
I'm so happy. I
Oh,
was so happy I got a teddy bear at last.
yeah.
Oh. Everyone should have one, I think.
Yes.
Definitely.
Well, I made sure that my grandchildren all had their teddy bears. And let's put it this way, they range from 36 down to 27, and they still all have their teddy bears.
Good.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Thank you, Ginty. I think I'll if unless there's somebody got a burning question that they want to ask, I'll just end with a couple of comments. So Alison has said, thank you so much, ladies. I'm really looking forward to repair shop work dates in Glasgow and Edinburgh next year, which is great. And
Can we just say something there?
Yeah.
Can I just butt in? They have postponed Glasgow and Edinburgh.
have they? Why? Oh, right. Okay, it doesn't matter why, but
They've postponed. Now they will be putting back on at some point. We're not, obviously we don't have party
We
to
don't
when
know,
that's
no.
going to happen. But the first three of the tour have had to be put towards the end, and we
Yeah.
haven't got dates for them yet.
It was
Yeah.
But they
Glasgow,
will.
Edinburgh, and Newcastle. Those
Newcastle,
three
yeah.
postponement will be later in the year.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we're happy to obviously for SWI ladies, we're happy to promote and help you do that. So that's
Thank you. Thank you. That'd be great. Yeah.
I've got Christine Love. The question she wanted to ask, this is the lady that we couldn't hear. She
Mhm.
wanted to know if you could identify the maker of her bear Fuzzy Wuzzy. Now let's see, is Christine still there? Charlotte, can you get Christine on screen? And let's see the bear, because I think that'll help. And Lynn B from Coldstream has said a huge thank you to both Amanda and Julia. Happy Christmas.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank
Merry
you.
Christmas to you.
you.
And to you all. Can we see Fuzzy Wuzzy?
Yeah, is Christine still here? She might have got frustrated by the... Oh, there she is.
Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
Fuzzy Wuzzy, can I see him? Okay.
Yeah. I think we're going Chad Valley.
Can I have a look at his face? I need to see the... Oh. He's got an eye missing. Turn him sideways for me.
Could be
I
is
think-
Mary Thought or Chad.
That's a tricky one. I think he could be a mouse here.
Okay.
He's a very difficult one to say without having him in our hands. We can definitely say without a doubt, he could be a Merry Thought. He's definitely English without a doubt.
Yes.
We can tell that because of his slightly shorter arms and slightly fatter body. But it is quite a tricky one to be able to say for sure.
There
It could
were
be a Merry Thought.
coming out of the sort of from the end of the war, sort of those sort of years, 40s, early 50s, there was a fashionable shape for a teddy bear, and a lot of the British manufacturers sort of copied each other because they all wanted to produce something, and they have some of them are, it's not always clear. Sometimes we straight away say definitely, but particularly just from a picture. But absolutely, Amanda's right, definitely an English bear.
How many claw stitches has he got? Can we tell? It's really hard. I'm just looking for little clues.
He's saying he's got something in his foot, but I don't know.
So he's got 3. Okay. One missing on that one.
The sight of his label looks like the size of the Chad Valley label.
Square.
His his face isn't obviously Chad. They tend
No.
to have a more bulbous nose, but a Merry Thought label would have been potentially
Long.
a bit slimmer. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit difficult. We'd have to give him a proper examination, but definitely English.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for persevering, Christine. Thank you. Glad we got to the
Oh.
bottom there. And I've got one last question, and then we'll let
Mhm.
you go. Does Julie know if the Teddy shop is still in Lyme Regis? I bought a kit there to make a Teddy 20 years ago, and would like another one. That's from Mac Park.
are you thinking was it Alice's bear shop?
Yeah,
Um,
it was.
it was Alice, that was the one in Lyme Regis, wasn't it? I think as far as I'm aware it is, I'm not 100% sure, but if it is, it would have a website because I know they had a hospital attached, and I believe that they had some cartoon characters or stories or something attached. So I'm certain there would be a website if it was still open, and it was Alice's Bear Shop. So
Lovely. Well, if I can ask everyone to unmute themselves, and then we'll give the ladies a nice Christmas send off.
Aw.
Very much for everyone. We'll just get everyone and then we'll say cheerio. So thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely to see you all.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Great. Lovely. Thank you very much. Have a great Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Andrew. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Bye.
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 Bye from Fergus.
Bye.
Bye, Fergus.
Bye. Fergus. Bye.
Barty's loving all this. Look at him. Woo!
Woohoo.